Action, we say. Spencer.
Hey, Joe.
Hello, friends. Joe Weber here from the Freedom Project. We're coming to you as a special edition of the Freedom Project podcast from Mayberly, Ontario, in the heart of Lanark County. And I'm sitting with my good friend Spencer Kell, who is opening up a center in Mayberly called the Manny Daniels Center, and it's going to be a recovery home. Spencer, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing great, Joe. I'm glad you popped in today. Thanks for making the trip.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. A lot of work has gone on here in the building since I was here last. Mostly I wanted to sit down with you today and talk to you about the center, about the ideology behind the center, about the progress that you've been making, and also to diffuse some concerns that have taken place in the area. This is a small town, Mayberly. Some of the local people have a misunderstanding, perhaps, of what's going on here. So why don't you first tell me just a little bit about why we are the Manny Daniels Center.
Right, so Manny was a friend of mine, a cell partner, back when I was incarcerated in Maplehurst in Milton, Ontario, in my last two sentences from 2017. And we became close in our cell, and we had both come to the end of our road for our using, and we were both facing consequence from our behaviors and wanting to make changes in our lives. We had both applied to a program out here in Ottawa, the Salvation Army at the Booth Center, to find reprieve from our substance use, and I was accepted, and I was able to get out on a bail condition in order to attend the program while Manny was serving his sentence. So his sentence expired, and then faced with the choice of going back to his old life or coming to a treatment center, he chose to go home first, and he picked up and he used and he died. So it's unfortunate that happened. It hurt a lot. That it could have gone differently, and so Manny lives on in spirit, and so in honor of his life and his inspiration, which was a true inspiration, and pushed me towards taking the steps that were necessary in order to have this place become open. And so in honor of Manny, we've decided to name our flagship location the Manny Daniels Center.
Right on. So and you were incarcerated on drug-related charges,
property crimes, and drug-related.
Things required to feed an addiction.
That's right. Thefts and possessions and so on and so forth.
So you said that that you and Manny was actually serving a sentence, but you were on remand. Is that correct?
That's right.
So what's the how does that look different for? Is that the reason you were able to get into the Booth Center and Manny wasn't?
Actually, it's a little bit more difficult before you've been sentenced to get into a program, because there's no certainty around the length of your sentence. However, most government programs want to see that you've been sentenced and that your sentence has expired. So there are institutions that will give people intake dates upon their release from custody, but the problem is us. We're the addict. Is that we get it in our head like, oh, I've already done my time.
So I can go back out and I can pick up where I left off.
That's right.
And we know in addiction, I come up through addictions mostly with alcohol, but drugs too. And I never did any real jail time, but that's the grace of God. That was my dad used to say that's more good luck than good living.
Right. Right.
I forget what I was going to ask you. When we get out, in our head as addicts, we always think we're going to be okay, but where we start is always exactly where we left off.
But here's what the problem is, Joe, is that we have to try a life of recovery is to try something brand new, and inherently, anytime we try something brand new, we're not good at it.
Right.
So we want to revert back to that which we know, and unfortunately, for an addicted person, that's the lifestyle of using. Right, so if I was to say, hey, Joe, tomorrow you and I, we're going to go and we're going to enter ourselves into a water polo tournament. And I don't know the rules of water polo. Do you?
No.
No. All right, but we're going to have to go and we're going to expect it to do well.
For sure.
Or else we're going to look bad. Right, and so it's going to be a challenge, and we'll try, but we're not going to do it well. We're certainly not going to win. And so then that makes it difficult. So a person who's coming out of the provincial jail system is going to be facing all sorts of challenges of trying a new task. But on top of that, so if a person, if they did have an apartment when they were incarcerated, so say if they do 3 months or 6 months, they probably don't have an apartment when they get out because nobody's paid rent on that. So now they're facing homelessness. On top of that, they're facing unaddressed substance use disorder, and then plus just all of the social challenges. So now, how does a person succeed in life from there? Well, they have to go into a homeless shelter. They have to say no to drugs. They have to start engaging in a program. It's just, there's so many
mountains to climb there to get to a place where you can even begin to look at your addictions. Or
I could go back to what I know, go to my friend's house where there's drugs, pick up and use, and just continue on that path. And that's what happens.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the reason we're doing this little video today. We want to get it out. There's been some misinformation in the community. And you know, I really get, this is a small town. There's some families in the area. People are concerned that maybe there'll be a center in the area that's going to bring danger into the area or whatever. So we have a zoning bylaw meeting coming up, and as a result of that, there's been a petition started, and there's just a lot of really false kind of fear-mongering and information in that. So I would kind of like to go through the process with you. Like, I'm Joe. I'm doing time in Milton. I'm on remand, or I'm just getting out after finishing my sentence. While I've been incarcerated, I've been going to AA meetings or NA meetings. Maybe I've picked up a Bible study, and I'm working on myself spiritually. And I really have a motivation to this time change my life.
So you're going to be the candidate that we're looking for our program.
What's the process involved in how I get into the center? And what kind of screening do you do and stuff like that?
Yeah, so number one, nobody is going to be mandated to come here by the court. It's not going to be a punitive measure for a person to attend here. It's actually going to be completely willing or voluntary, and the candidate would have to be willing. So say if that's you, Joe, you're willing, you've come to the end of your using, you're facing consequence for the behaviors that you've actioned as a result of the substance use, and so you've stolen something from Walmart, and you're facing a 3-month or a 6-month sentence, something like that, and then you realize, geez, maybe drugs are a problem, or maybe alcohol is a problem, maybe some kind of substance has led me to where I am now, and geez, I probably wouldn't be incarcerated if I hadn't first picked up and used, because that's really what set in motion the behavior that got me incarcerated. So you start to face the facts and become honest with yourself about the reasons why you're sitting in a provincial remand center, and then it dawns on you, geez, I'd really like to make a change, but I don't know how to do that. So then you might ask your social worker or addictions counselor at the institution if there's any solution, anything in the way of a solution. And then they would give you some application forms for, different centers. So ours would maybe be among them. And so you'd fill out our application form. So we on the institution level would receive a stack of applications in which we would screen. And there's certain criteria that we're looking for. Some of it is going to have to do with the nature of the offenses, and also drug use history, with engaging in recovery, and things like that. So we'll have certain markers that we're looking for. So ideally, we're looking for somebody who is choosing to engage in whatever programming is available at their institution. So whether it be Bible studies, 12-step fellowship meetings, whatever it is, somebody who has shown that they are looking for some kind of improvement in their life.
So that's completely different from, say, a halfway house that you would get mandated to as part of your release, where you have to go spend time at this house. Yeah,
and a halfway house is exactly that. It's halfway between the institution and independent living, right? Where for somebody who has been found guilty of a crime, whereas the people that we will be serving will have the presumption of innocence because they've only been allegedly charged with the crime. So by our Charter of Freedoms Act, they are still an innocent person until proven guilty in the court of law.
And certainly anyone who was was waiting trial on something like a, mass murder or something horrific, they wouldn't even be eligible to begin the screening process to get into a place like the Manny Daniels Center.
They would not be very likely to get bail to go anywhere.
Exactly.
But there are a few, things that would exclude a person from being accepted. They'd be screened out.
Yeah.
And some of those things are, very serious crimes. If there's anything of a sexual nature, that would be an exclusion, as it's not the program we're offering here. And even with some severe cases of dual diagnosis, so if there's complex mental health issues that are going along with the substance use issues, that's probably a person that would also be screened out of our program. And it's not that that person doesn't deserve treatment. It's just that that's not
set up for that.
It's not the model we're providing here.
So let's talk about the model for a minute. So it's called the Manny Daniels Center, but it's a part of the Lovesoluable.
Yep.
Is actually the registered charity.
Yep.
And nonprofit that is the umbrella over this center.
Right.
That's correct?
Yes.
And you're the founder of that?
Yeah, the director.
Director?
Yeah.
So in that organization, you have a charter, you have bylaws, you're set up completely legally within the province and the country. What qualifies you to run a treatment center and some of the staff you'll have here?
Right. Great question, Joe. So we do have a board of directors. Currently, there's 7 other members besides myself, all professionals in various industries. We have some people that come from Christian not-for-profit backgrounds. We have others that are coming from the addiction sector, professionals with work experience in them, and then others that just come from other related professional backgrounds, career backgrounds, and and we all come together because we believe in this mandate that we want to help individuals find freedom from substance use and freedom from recidivism. So we got around here. So my qualifications are that I have lived experience and that I've, attended many treatment centers, and I've been in and out of several provincial institutions, and over the course of my lifetime, I've learned how to navigate that system and understood what works and what doesn't work in those systems. And so on my last release, I'd been determined to take this one step further. So I did enroll at a second career college called Willis College, and the Addictions Community Service Worker Program. And so I graduated that with high honors in 2019. And then I continued to pursue my counseling certification. I have a clinical supervisor who's also on our board of directors. So to fully understand and comprehend the program side of things. So that, coupled with my lived experience, I think puts me in a real position to not only be a peer mentor for somebody, but also to deliver professional programming. And I've gotten to the place where that I can write curriculum with the assistance of my clinical supervisor. So we have a completely unique and revolutionary curriculum and program where we're taking aspects of many other programs that exist, and we're bringing them all together under one roof to give a full wraparound care of, so you're not only going to receive some substance use counseling when you come here, but individuals would be able to stay. I would imagine the shortest stay would be 3 months, and an individual could stay up to 2 years here in our care. So first, we're going to address the substance use, but then there's many other barriers that an individual is facing. So homelessness is one of them. So it's like, well, we can't just give you a 30 days worth of treatment, then kick you out and you got no place to go. Like, it's not going to work. You're going to fall back into the cycle. So it's like, okay, so what do you want to be when you grow up? Joe, who's coming here from the provincial institution, and you say, well, I don't know, maybe I want to be a carpenter. It's okay, well, where are you at right now, Joe? Because that sounds pretty reasonable. The trades are a good place to work. So where are you at right now, Joe? Do you have a high school? Do you have any experience as a carpenter? Let's identify that. And so then we figure out, A, where you want to be, and B, where are you at now? And let's identify all of the little steps that need to happen in order to be able to get you there, right? And then so throughout this period of time, you're in a home, and this is a home, right? We're not running some meat grinder institution where guys come in and just come out the other end, and
Right.
it's a government mandated program that's, you know, there's a very personal touch to what we're doing. We're going to have a harvest table over there where men get to gather around and mentor as peers like yourself and be coming in from the community and really showing these guys how to become upstanding men with integrity.
Awesome.
And then so yeah, we want to really map out that road to independent living. And while guys are in our care, and so, you know, what do you need, Joe? What help do you need? Oh, you don't know how to do laundry. You don't know how to cook a meal.
Right.
You don't know how to pay rent. What's your credit
It's a
rating?
real holistic kind of approach at lifestyle.
Right. So that if you want to stand a very high, if you want to have a very high chance of continuing with lifelong recovery, you're going to need to cover a whole lot of bases, which is a lot more than just, why do I use?
Sure, and we see that in regular programs, right? You know, I've been in AA throughout my life, been through some Christian recovery programs and involved in some of that. And, you know, the people that don't grow in a spiritual way and grow into their purpose will often fail, because we also need that spiritual guidance. So you're going to have absolutely qualified, accredited people on staff. It's going to be a 24-hour-a-day staff person here?
So in the beginning, yes, 100%. So this is actually my primary residence. It's a 4-bedroom house on the one side, and then this is a separate studio apartment, and I live in the studio apartment. So we have a kitchen, and I have my office and my living room and my bedroom here. So we're not starting at
full capacity or in...
Right, we're going to gear up to that, right? So I currently have one other resident who lives on the other side and rents a room there, and then so nothing stops me from renting rooms to guys.
Right.
Which is not, and I mean, as far as the township stuff goes and the zoning and the things that some of the residents have been saying about us, and there's some apprehension about, we don't want drug addicted criminals living in our neighborhood. And it's like, I don't want drug addicted criminals living in the neighborhood either, right? Yeah. So we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm trying to help deliver a program to reduce the rates of recidivism so we have less drug addicted criminals running around in the world.
Sure.
The fact of the matter is, all you have to do is Google people on bail in Lanark County, and you're going to get a list of 20 cases that have happened recently at the Perth courthouse, and it'll be, you know, X, Y, and Z. This guy caught with this firearm, this amount of drugs, awaiting bail. This guy that was charged with this, awaiting bail, awaiting bail, awaiting bail. So the fact of the matter is, if a person doesn't like the idea of people who are on bail living in their community, they have a fight with the provincial court system. They don't have a fight with me, because people get bail and they live in a community, and without supervision and without assistance,
there's more chance of problems.
Of reoffense. Yeah.
Now, and you know, I have to play the devil's advocate just a little bit. I understand because they don't understand. I understand when there's misinformation that fear grows in a community, and this is a small community. But I mean, part of what we want to do with our video today is to set people's mind at rest.
Right.
To let them know that this isn't you guys aren't a fly-by-night thing that are, you know, sending a bus up to Millhaven and bringing a load of people back.
Right.
You know, this is a legit, well thought out curriculum. It's accredited and registered with the Ontario government and the Canadian government. You've got backing from professionals from every aspect, and you've got a heart that loves the Lord.
Amen.
Lots of these programs that are out there are fully secular programs, but I know that you're also looking at that spiritual aspect of people's lives. Tell us a little bit about how you work that into your program.
Well, 100%, Joe. So I wouldn't say that our programming is a faith-based program, because I've never believed that Christianity is a model for recovery in itself, right? So there's a lot of other elements that go along with teaching an individual how to overcome the substance use. But also, that being said, it can be very difficult or impossible to overcome substance use without having
Without
a relationship with some kind of a spiritual power. So what I can tell you is that I'm a Christian person. I'm a senior soldier with the Salvation Army. When an individual comes here, they're certainly going to encounter the love of Christ. They're going to be introduced to the gospel, and they're going to, just like anywhere else in the world, be faced with a decision. Is this something I want to pursue or not? And the very best that I can do, in my opinion, right now as it stands, is in as much as I know and in as far as I've been trained, the very best thing that I can do is walk an upright Christian walk in front of another person, and that should look attractive enough for that person to question and say, well, how can I also walk the way you walk?
For sure. And that's, I think, a good aspect to get out into the community as well, to bring some more peace of mind to folks. You know, we're a faith, not a faith-based program, but we're Christian people that are involved in this program, and that influence will go out into the community.
Yeah, we hope so. And I mean, our guys are going to have the opportunity to go to church. I go to church, right? And so, you know, we certainly will not shy away from the efficacy of the gospel and all the reasons why a person should encounter Christ. That being said, if a person comes here with an unwillingness to encounter Christ, they also deserve to receive treatment for their substance use disorder just as much as the next guy does. And I believe wholeheartedly that that's how Christ would have it as well.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we got the chance to talk, and even from my own understanding, I know now that, you know, I would come out of some kind of system of correction, you know, through an application process. I could come here, I could stay here for as long as required for me to make the lifestyle changes I need so that I can be a successful member of the community.
Right.
And that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Doesn't sound very scary at all.
I hope not, Joe. And one of the things that I think needs to be highlighted too is that we know that part of the programming in the 12-step model through steps 8 and 9 is talking about making amends, and there's an amends process, direct and indirect. And some of the programming that we'll be doing here is making a direct amends to the community that we harmed in the past in our using. And so an amends to the community looks like, you know, picking up garbage that doesn't belong to you when you're on a walk down the street, or shoveling somebody's driveway that's too elderly and needs a hand, or whatever it is. And so the guys that come here are going to learn to be men, upright men who walk with integrity, who are willing to lend a helping hand, and have become completely regenerated. And we'll have a bit of manpower here. So I'm hoping to form a relationship with the people on the Tay Valley Council and the people of this community. And maybe there's some community gardens that need to be planted. Well, we've got 4 guys that could come down and take care of that for a day. And like, how can we help? How can we make this community better? We'd love to be part of the solution and see, and so that the community itself could see what a regenerated man in Christ looks like, and what that does for our community. And I just hope that starts to snowball, and so that, you know, the neighbors can see, like, and maybe just start a regeneration of spirit amongst the people. And it's like, you know, who is your neighbor? That's a big question. Who is your neighbor? Right? These days, do we know who our neighbor is? Yeah. Do we actually know?
I talked to a guy the other day who spent 30 years living in a condominium downtown. He never met one person.
Right.
So there was like 400 units. He never met one person the whole time he was there that he knew. And that's the problem that we have in the world. So speaking of neighbors, I think it would be remiss to say that you've been here now since early in the summer. And although there's this petition going around and there's a little bit of fear in the community at the moment, there's been lots of neighbors helping out already in lots of ways here, bringing you food, helping you work on the building, stuff like that. So we just want to give a shout out to them and thank them for all that's going on. And I think you got any other last remarks you want to say to the folks out there?
No, I just want to say thanks for your support and for your understanding. We're on Facebook under Lovesoluable. We have a private group. Feel free to please ask us to join our group, and then you can find us on the web at lovesoluble.ca, which is www.lovesoluble.ca. and that's where donations to the charity can be made, as well as all the information that you might want to find out about who Lovesoluable is and the programs that we intend to run here at the Manny Daniels Center.
Right. And we do have a zoning bylaw meeting coming up February 13th, I believe.
Yep, February 13th.
The zoning, you know, there's a precedent for the zoning. There was a couple times there's been a treatment center just up the road here from you, so that shouldn't be a problem, and we're hoping this petition won't throw any spanners in the works. But we are inviting people to come out to that meeting at Tay Valley Township Hall at 5:30 to support Spencer and the people involved with the Lovesoluable and Manny Daniels Center. We're probably gonna, it's a 5:30 meeting?
It's a 5:30 meeting. I was hoping we can meet up at 5:15 for some prayer in the parking lot, and really show up in numbers, and just let the people know that this is a good thing, and that there's a lot of good people who support this. And then, you know, what sometimes the people in the community don't realize is how many of us there are out there. And that by us, I mean people in recovery. And you don't know they're people in recovery because they're your local business owner.
Right.
They're your local...
Or your pastor, or your mayor,
Yeah.
or whatever. I'm not saying anything about mayors or pastors. I've been in municipal politics, and I've been involved in the church for a long time, and I'm an alcoholic. So I have been for a long time, sober. By the grace of God and by a program. So this program is going to help a lot of people, and it's going to help the community. So it also falls right in line with our scripture at the Freedom Project podcast, you know, John 8:36, if the Son sets you free, you'll be free indeed. So God is going to bring people here. He's going to set them free. We're going to make an impact in this community, and it's all going to be for good. So thanks for joining us today and giving us a chance to talk to Spencer and to explain some of these things to you. I'm going to ask people in the immediate vicinity of Leonard County to take this video and put it on your Facebook page and share it, share it, share it. It's going to be on the YouTube channel, but we're going to get it up on Facebook too. And the more people that see this, the more we can allay some of the fears and the misinformation that's gone out. And we'll see you guys, I hope, for prayer at 5:15, Tay Valley Township parking lot on Harper Road. God bless you all. Thanks so much for giving us a chance to speak to you. And we'll see you all again real soon.
Awesome.
Cut. I got to push the button myself.
Thanks, Joe.
Dad's not here. That's a wrap.